Storybeans presents Paco the Pangolin, Africa's bravest hero. In the heart of Africa's golden savannah lands, where the baobab trees stretched their arms toward the wide blue sky and herds of animals roamed free, there was a special place known as the young one's nursery. This was where all the young animals of the savannah came each morning to play, learn and grow together under the watchful eye of Mama Giraffe, the tallest and wisest of them all. The nursery was always full of laughter and playful chatter. There was Tembo the young elephant, who loved splashing in muddy puddles. Zula the zebra, who loved to dance on her hind legs, flashing her black and white stripes to everyone she came across. And Nia, the nimble gazelle, who was able to leap higher than anyone else in the nursery, and often did. But there was one little animal who never seemed to join in the fun. His name was Paco the Pangolin. Paco had rough, hard scales that clinked when he walked. His face was small, his eyes shy, and when he felt nervous, which was often, he curled up tightly into a scaly ball. The other young animals kept their distance. "Why does he look like a walking pine cone?" Tembo whispered one morning. "He's too weird. Look at those claws," Nia giggled. "He's probably grumpy under all those scales," Zula added. Paco heard every word, but instead of curling up, he took a deep breath. "Always put your best foot forward," he whispered to himself, a saying Mama Pangolin had told him every morning. "Even if others don't understand you, show them your best." So, every day, Paco tried. When the young ones played tag, Paco shuffled after them and tried to play along, even though his short legs couldn't keep up. When they painted, Paco tried making patterns like the others, but he found it difficult holding the brush with his claws, and his pictures always looked smudged. And when they sang songs, Paco hummed along softly, even though his voice was small and squeaky, but no one really noticed or paid him any attention. One afternoon, as the sun hung low and hot in the sky, Mama Giraffe led the young ones to the edge of the nursery gardens for a rest. Paco sat a little apart, tracing swirls in the dust with his claw. Suddenly, the ground gave a deep, terrible rumble. The earth began to shake and crack beneath their feet. A low, growling roar rose from deep underground. "Earthquake!" Mama Giraffe shouted, raising her long neck high into the air to check the area. "Stay together!" But the ground cracked open right near to where the young ones were sitting. A small ridge of earth buckled, and Nia, Tembo and Zula tumbled towards a growing gap in the ground. The young animals screamed. Without thinking, Paco sprang to his feet. His scales clattered, his heart pounded, but his feet moved fast. He darted past the trembling trees, over the shaking earth, right toward his friends. "Hold on," he cried. Tembo tried to scramble up, but the ground beneath him crumbled. Nia's slender legs were tangled in vines. Zula was frozen with fear. Paco reached Tembo first. He dug his strong claws into the soft earth, reached his tail into the air to keep him balanced, and stretched out his front paw. "Grab on!" he shouted. Tembo wrapped his trunk around Paco's arm. For a moment, Paco thought they'd both tumble in, but his claws held tight. With a mighty tug, he pulled Tembo back to safety. Next, Paco scurried over to Nia. He used his sharp claws to slice through the vines, trapping her legs. "Come on, Nia, you can leap!" With a freed leg and a push from Paco, Nia leapt across the crack just as it widened. Finally, Paco raced to Zula. The little zebra was shaking, her eyes wide. "Zula, you have to move," Paco shouted. I can't," Zula whimpered. Paco didn't hesitate. He curled his strong tail around Zula's front legs and dragged her clear of the edge. They both fell in a heap as the crack in the earth split wide open behind them. The shaking finally stopped. Dust filled the air. Mama Giraffe rushed over, her eyes full of worry. "Is everyone safe?" One by one, the young animals nodded, their eyes turning toward Paco. Tembo stepped forward. "Paco, you saved me," Nia added. "And me." Zula gave a trembly little smile. "You didn't even think twice." Paco looked down, his claws dusty, his heart thumping like a drum. I wanted to help." Mama Giraffe lowered her long neck and gave him a warm look. "You put your best foot forward today, Paco. You showed us the courage and kindness inside you, and that matters more than anything on the outside." Tembo trumpeted. "I think your scales are awesome." Nia nodded. "And your claws are super helpful." Zula gave him a nudge. "I'm sorry we didn't see the real you before." For the first time since he'd joined the young one's nursery, Paco smiled. A wide, shining smile that even made his little scales shimmer in the sun. From that day on, things changed. When the young ones played tag, Tembo would slow down so Paco could catch him. When they painted, Nia always asked Paco to make cool claw patterns instead of using a brush. And when they sang songs around Mama Giraffe's piano, Zula would always make sure Paco's voice was heard. As a result of his adventure, Paco learned that sometimes you have to show others your heart before they understand who you really are. And every morning after that, when he woke up under the African savannah sky, Paco would still whisper to himself, "Always put your best foot forward," because sometimes that best foot is exactly what the world needs most. Thank you for watching Story Beans. See you next time.